We're
All right.
live.
Good morning. We're live, John.
Good morning, Jeremiah. How are you?
Fantastic. I see that we both are bundling up
It's
in
cold
this.
here,
It's cold.
man.
Hey, it's legitimate. I looked at a webcam with my kids, and there is snow up on Palomar Mountain.
Mm,
There's snow over in East County in those hills. Um, Not a
yeah,
lot, but there's some white stuff.
yeah. No,
And I think
this
it,
this
it
morning I
may
was
have been in the 40s this morning.
yeah, yeah. But there was a wind chill factor, and the wind chill factor cut me to the core. I was walking with my son to school,
Yeah.
and boy, there were a couple times where it was like, wait a minute, this does not feel like sunny San Diego.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Well, you're too fit. You need to get a little extra layers of fat, what I mean, kind of keep you insulated.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Thanks. Oh man. Uh,
Oh, well, boy, we got some fun stuff to talk about today.
we do.
Um, off camera, we were talking about just, how our buyers are grinding, but let's jump right into what the heck everyone's talking about in the news with coming out of the winter market, heading into spring. This one on Forbes, the headline was the spring 2022 housing market will absolutely crush buyers. And they even threw Zillow in the headline saying that they
Right.
say home prices are going to spike 22%.
Yeah. Yikes. So last year here in North County, we had about what would you say, Jeremiah? Right around 24% or so appreciation
Correct.
uh,
Yep.
in North County. Um, and all the folks I've been listening to and reading, and most of them are saying uh, continued growth, but at a much reduced rate. So somewhere around 6 to 7% appreciation
Mhm.
over the course of this year, and a lot of that being tied to mortgage rates going up. So to see Zillow say that they have a prediction where we're going to see a 22% spike. So that means, like, for us, we saw 24% appreciation last year. That means
Mhm.
we're going to see another 22% this year, I guess is what they're saying.
Yeah,
I don't
here, I'll even share it here.
That's just, oof. I, yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, obviously, here in the gold is the numbers that have been calculated. It's exactly what, um, you know, the S&P, Case-Shiller, the home price index, that's what they've been looking at. So it's this blue area here that these are the Zillow predictions, which now I think we've talked about in other episodes where Zillow back in November, back in December had much smaller predictions. And
Right.
it's not only until January and then now with with this news coming out that their analytical, number crunching has boosted it up obviously quite a bit. So
Yes. Yeah, and this ties directly into our level of supply.
mhm.
So because our supply is just so limited right now, it's driving the prices up. People in the neighborhood look at themselves and go, "Wow, what did that couple just buy that house for?" But
Yeah.
boy, if they hang on to that for a little while, even over the course of this year, they're likely going to see a nice, appreciation on that home just because there's very limited supply at the moment. So,
Well, and I
yeah,
mean, off camera, we were also talking about the fact that we're having a hard time finding comps to support what the offers are being at right now. And
right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
that equates to what you're saying with inventory, right?
right. So it's really anybody's guess right now. In our marketplace, you could say our average sales price here for Carlsbad is somewhere around 1.2, 1.3. That number is climbing every day. Um, uh, for example, I'm trying to get a good friend of mine into a townhome that was listed at 1.2, and supposedly, we'll see when it closes, it's going to sell for more than $200,000 over their list price. And we're talking about a townhome. Typically, we're seeing that here with single-family detached homes, but not so much with your townhome, especially when you do have a comp that recently sold for 1.2. So I think it's anybody's guess right now. And I know a lot of the real estate professionals at the moment are scratching their heads and wondering how to best support their clients in the search, because it's an absolute battle at the moment. And it seems to be anybody's guess in terms of what the seller is actually going to accept and where the other offers are coming in. So
and we got to still go back to inventory. I know we've talked about it again on other episodes, and we've talked about those figures. I pulled up, because of course this article that I'll link to in the comments here, it's talking about our entire nation, but in San Diego County, just comparing last January to this past January, last month, inventory of homes are up, or excuse me, down 44.3%. So we've talked about that before. Well, I mean, again, we're looking at almost 50% less on the market.
Right.
That's all you have to say. I mean, that's to me, that is the big elephant in the room. You know what I mean? If there is nothing, then it will continue to be just zany. I mean, it's absolutely bananas.
Right. So what are people going to do? I think that people are going to be moving outside of where they really want to be. So here, at least, that means going a little bit further inland and seeing what's available inland. Generally, you get a lot more bang for your buck the further inland that you go. Again, it's all based on location. Or folks are leaving. They're leaving the state. And so this kind of ties into our next article here, but talking about, again, supply, demand, and how are big corporations going to be handling this. So say you want to recruit top talent from another area of the United States, and they say, wow, this is great. This is a wonderful offer letter and a package, and you're going to move my family across the United States to come be a part of what you're doing here in North County, San Diego. That sounds amazing. But then they get here and they have to find a house. So how are these corporations going to be helping these folks be competitive in actually finding a home? And I got to believe there's going to be some creative solutions that are going to come out of this severe lack of inventory. What do you think, Jeremiah?
Well, we talked about some of that stuff where I think you and I both don't think it's crazy if we start hearing about Apple and Sony and maybe some of these, the Scripps hospitals starting to buy real estate themselves, right?
Yeah.
And to offer, but it's not only affecting, and again, I'm reiterating some of the stuff we've talked about in other episodes, but this is not only affecting home values, but it's going to absolutely, double, triple, a couple of years out here on rental prices or, rental amounts. I mean, I see actually maybe slight, hopefully soon down the road that we see, the market kind of soften a little bit, but I don't think the rental market will soften at all because people are priced out. So they're priced out. If they have to be here, they're not buying. And so they're renting and that rental that was just $3,000 before, now it's $4,000. The ones that are $4,000 are now $5,500. So it's we're keeping an eye on that segment of the market as well. But it's I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah.
I really, don't know what to say. Should we segue into the next
Yeah,
one, like you were talking about?
definitely.
Because I think this is huge. Essentially, there wasn't a lot of verbiage in this article off
Right.
Stacker. Headline was cities with the fastest growing home prices in San Diego metro area. And it actually started to go through them. Let me see if I can pull it up. Um, I have to admit, I didn't know all of these areas.
Yeah, some of them I I was thinking the same thing, like, I'm not that familiar with, that pocket over there and, um, some of the towns, right? I didn't know the name of a couple of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Um, can you see what I've been shopping for lately?
yep, gotta get those shoes.
I needed a new pair of running shoes. Man,
Yeah.
Google Ads does not hold back. They track me everywhere.
No.
Okay, so let's try to get rid of some of the stuff. Um, yeah, so basically, I mean, they start at the top 15 with Fallbrook being not at the bottom of the list, but you know what I mean, but being in 15th place. It's wild in 15th place, you see a price change of 25%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and look at just the typical home value. I mean, we're not even breaking 800,000.
Right. Well, we're talking about Fallbrook here, which is known as a more rural community.
Absolutely.
Now there's new builds, a number of them taking place out there right now, different planned communities. But who would have thought our typical home value in Fallbrook would be somewhere around 785,000?
Yeah.
Um, you know, and Bonzel's, it's out there as well, and they're calling it the 12th most expensive in the San Diego city metro. Uh,
But
Poway.
that's what you were talking about though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's the ring
people,
of growth.
yeah,
Right.
people
So
are pushing out.
where are you gonna go? I mean, if I was a builder, I would be looking in these areas to build. Fallbrook, Bonsall, um, east part of Escondido, Valley Center, which there are a number of new build developments taking place.
Mhm.
Vista, as we know, is very popular. The 78 is known as Hop Highway because of all the breweries that
Mhm.
are littered along the 78 highway there. And it's becoming nicer and nicer.
Yeah.
Um, so, what this article talked about is that the pandemic is spurring people to buy vacation homes, second homes. And they think that a lot of what we're seeing here is people buying vacation properties because of the pandemic, that was the catalyst. Is that what you're seeing, Jeremiah?
I mean, maybe in some of these you can attribute that. I just I didn't feel they had enough data for that. I mean,
Yeah,
when we're looking at this list, I think you nailed it on the head with Vista, Oceanside, San Marcos. There's actually land there to build on, and we've seen
yeah,
a ton of developers, and the big ones too. I'm not talking
right,
about
right,
building just a couple homes. I mean, they're building massive neighborhoods.
right.
Um, Scrolling down a little more, um, oddly enough, I did have a client that was looking in Mount Laguna,
Huh.
and I think that would kind of fit that mold or support, the concept of, oh, I want a mountain cabin,
Yeah,
and they just want something out there. I tend to think too, which a lot of people probably aren't aware of. I mean, look at the price point here. We're talking about under 400,000.
right.
There's also not a lot of inventory, and excuse me, inventory is the wrong word. There's just not a lot of homes out there in general,
Yeah, yeah,
and so that's where I felt some of these numbers were skewed because there's just
You're
not
not
a
just a
lot.
real estate agent.
Uh-oh.
You're more than
Hold
that.
on.
So the right partner can track appraisal
I
and
got
title status.
Got a video going.
yeah. Yeah. There's just not a lot of real estate to begin with out there. So Mount Laguna, um, there was Warner Springs. I don't know. Have you gone out to the springs out there?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't.
It's actually kind of cool.
Driven by it,
Um,
but yeah.
yeah. I would say, oh, the same thing for Palomar Mountain. Yeah, that was the
Mhm.
two. My clients were interested in either going up to the northern part of the county in Palomar Mountain, or doing East County down south over at Mount Laguna. So yeah, I can agree with that. I just see areas like number 8 Encinitas, and Carlsbad. Well,
Mhm.
there's just even though numbers are lower as far as how many sold, um, there's just a ton of activity and a ton of turnover, with the volume of homes in Carlsbad and Encinitas. So I
Right.
I I don't think there was, I mean, especially because we've done a lot of work in these areas. I don't see that as being a ton of people buying vacation homes and second homes in there. I just saw a lot of turnover on whether people were leaving or whether people empty nesters that are
Yeah.
downsizing, people buying their first homes. So yeah, I didn't, I'll scroll down. I got to tell you, I had to Google this city, didn't know where it was. But yeah, I think that's where I think some of this data is a little misleading, just because we're talking about such remote areas.
Yeah.
That yeah, I tend to disagree. How about you?
Yeah, I talked to a number of folks who are interested in purchasing a second home, but not for vacationing. They want it as, well, a hedge against inflation, and it'll be a rental,
Mhm.
and they'll just hold it as a rental property. So I guess you could argue maybe that's vacation, but more looking long term. They want good tenants in there for years, and they're not so concerned with getting top dollar, but they want a solid tenant in there who's going to be there for 5, 10 years, and it's really a place for them to just park their money.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing that.
Well, I
Um,
mean, and shoot, we're going to see more of that with
yeah,
the stock market and crypto getting hammered with everything with Ukraine and Russia. It's just it does seem like, maybe this is the wrong platform to real estate agents talking about buying real estate, but it does seem like the safest thing to be purchasing right now
yeah.
because of the supply and demand.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's long term. Again, if the play is to hold it, you look at what has happened over history, and there's going to be more and more people in the world. So people are going to need some place to live. So if you follow that just at a high level, even you go, okay, well, it's food, clothing, shelter. If you have the money to purchase a home and hold it forever, you're going to be much better off. It's just you have to have the staying power, the strength to hold it when times aren't fantastic, you know. But yeah, I totally agree. Real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now, even I'd say one of the safest investments that you could make. So
Yeah. Well, and then like we talked about in the previous article, you're not getting a good deal renting right now.
right, right,
So I actually did have that conversation with clients, or someone relocating that they thought it was only going to be temporary. Just the whole concept of evaluating where you want to be. I always felt there was a time and a place for renting,
right,
and it's getting harder and harder for me to encourage people to take advantage of the renting concept when I feel like they're getting burned more renting and paying more than they would be paying for a mortgage. Even at today's rates that are still hovering around 4%.
right.
So it's I think that part's tricky too. And then of course, the competition where you just have that many more people that thought they would try to get out of renting,
Yeah,
that are just adding to the buying pool.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
And that's a great point, is the buying pool, it's it's not really shrinking, right? Because these
it's the
buyers,
opposite, right?
it's the opposite. Yeah. So, one of the predictions is that, okay, that yes, the mortgage rates are going to go up, and that should cool the market off a little bit. But I'm not fully convinced of that, especially because it's not that big of a difference if you go from 3.5% to 4.25%, and you're putting a good chunk of change down as well, your down payment. So just the ability to secure a home, that's really what's most important. And I think a lot of buyers understand that. For the folks who are right on the cusp, of being able to afford a place that they could actually see themselves living in, I think those folks are really going to be impacted by this,
Yeah.
and likely they either have to drastically adjust their expectations, or they're going to have to just continue to rent. But renting is just very uncertain right now. The only thing I would say is that is certain, and in that, being a tenant, is that you can expect your rent to go up the next time the lease is up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
And you and I both know that landlords are savvy too. It's the whole concept of, hey, listen, if your if your lease is about to expire, they're eyeing you to say, are you staying? And if you're staying, hey, expect a rate hike.
right.
And if you're not staying, that landlord's going to try to cash in. That investor's trying to cash in on a brand new tenant. Do a little updating, and then just skyrocket that next lease.
And they'll
So
get it. They'll
yeah.
get
No, that's what I mean. It's like they're
Yeah.
not hoping. They know
Right.
they'll get it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't want rates to accelerate up too fast, but I'm
No.
trying to figure out what it takes other than that happening to slow this down, to make sure it doesn't go out of control.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And exactly. It's like, what toggle needs to be turned in order to get things to change? And the biggest part of that puzzle, I think, is our supply. And where is it coming from? I mean, the builders are doing what they can to keep up with it, but they also have supply chain issues.
yeah,
And, that maybe a home is all framed out, and, things are going well, but then all of a sudden you have to hit the brakes for 5, 6, 8 weeks because you can't get cabinetry in, or certain parts that you need to be able to actually finish that job.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that's becoming more and more common. So,
Well, you know what it sounds like we need?
hmm.
It sounds like we need more construction and maybe a little magic in the air.
Yes, which is a beautiful tie-in to our next segment of the show, Disney in the desert. And who doesn't love that?
I love it. I love it. This is from Fox News.
Mm.
Headline says Disney plans to build entire neighborhood in California desert. But I gotta read the beginning. It says Disney is launching a new division to develop entire residential communities, starting with one in the Southern California desert. The new project, termed Story Living by Disney,
Yes.
aims to create master plan neighborhoods infused with the company's special brand of magic.
Oh, man. Yes. Yep. So I think this one that they're talking about, Jeremiah, it will be magical. It's going to be out in Rancho Mirage, right?
Yes.
I think, yeah. And they,
Like for that's near Coachella, just right
yeah,
outside, like Palm
yeah,
Springs area.
right. So it sounds like they've got this master plan community. They've been talking to the city and are actually fairly far along with their process of getting their permits. The fact that Disney is launching a new division, and this is a real estate division.
Yeah, and this is just the first.
This is exactly. That's very telling. Very telling.
Yeah.
So right,
Disney's getting into real estate. We've talked about corporations.
that's right.
And now Disney's just saying, "Oh no, we're not only going to just build a couple homes.
Yeah.
We're going to create." And when they create, they don't half-ass it. They're not just like,
Right.
"Oh well, we'll just dabble in it."
Right.
They want to just do it their way, make a little
That's right.
city.
Yeah, and they know that they have a diehard following, and they're absolutely going to capitalize on that. They see what's going on with housing, specifically in Southern California. They know there's an opportunity there. And I'm curious. I initially, upon reading the article, I was thinking that they were going to actually hold all these properties as rentals, and it was going to be a rental arm for them. And supposedly they're going to be selling these. So the community is going to be a combination of estates, nice single family homes, condos, and maybe even apartments. But they're putting.
I think they were going to do some 55 plus as well.
Yeah, you're right, and a 55 plus as well. And I guess this community is going to be centered around a 24-acre oasis, they call it, a man-made lake in the middle of the desert. And they have a cute little photo, or not photo, but a rendering up there of people, stepping off their paddle boards onto the shore.
Yeah.
And there it is. Yeah. And it looks so idyllic. It's beautiful.
Oh boy.
So I'd be curious to see what these properties in there sell for. And man, maybe you and I should do a road trip up there when this thing is built. I'm curious about it.
Oh, I'm absolutely curious about it. I'm just listen. If anyone can pull this off, it's Disney, and I'm not talking about just the magic of Mickey Mouse and
Right.
everything.
Right.
But the deep pockets that they have, they can pull this off.
Right.
How is this? I mean, gosh, how is this going to affect the community out there?
I don't know. I mean, the way that this is kind of pitched right here, this to me, it strikes me as all inclusive. So you've got shops and stores maybe where you can buy food, and nice restaurants and bars, and what I'm seeing here, it's like, look, we know that the pandemic has changed the way that people work, the way that people live. People want to come home to their own sanctuary. And so Disney is painting this picture of a sanctuary that people can buy into. And okay, it's in the middle of the desert. But like you said, Jeremiah, Disney has the pockets to be able to build this thing out in such a way that it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of the desert. You're in the magic land of Disney. And
hey, John,
it's even better. It's like,
yeah. Hey, when we go to Disneyland, I don't really love Anaheim.
Me neither.
And I don't like to walk around Anaheim. But once you enter the Disneyland park, or you go over to California Adventure, I mean, they have a way of just transforming. You just feel like you're in another world.
Right.
And can you imagine if that's what you lived in every day? I mean,
it scares me.
It's a little spooky. It's like, it's cool, but it's a little spooky, right?
Right. Because at least in my mind, that's not reality.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I guess it is your reality, right? If you buy into this community and that's where you live and you play and you work. Okay. But it's bizarre. I'm thinking now, just kind of on the spot here, that they're going to have these communities set up all over the United States, right? and you'll be able to buy into these communities, and that is going to be your life, and that is where you are going to, have your kids, and that's where they'll grow up, and that's what they'll understand as reality, which is very bizarre to me.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't even
yeah,
think about it that way.
yeah,
You're a Disney fan, and so you move to one of these areas, and you're just going, "Hey, this is the best life," right? Like, I love everything Disney, but you and I are both parents, and we've like watched our kids grow up, and whatever they grow up in, that's the norm.
right, yeah.
They
So like
don't know.
exactly, just like a cell phone, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
I didn't grow up with one of these,
yeah,
but our kids, they probably know how to use it better than we do.
yeah.
um and so this, to me, like, this isn't real, like, okay, I can, uh to them, that's what that all the apps and all the stuff that they can do on there, that's very much integrated into their daily lives.
Mhm.
And even oftentimes at school, they're on a computer, or there's certain applications that they're told to go on to when they come home. I know I'm kind of getting off track here, but
No, no, I'm gonna take it even further off track. Finish up.
my point is that I guess your reality is what you make of it. But what's scary, from my perspective, is that it's so detached from the natural world, the
Mhm,
natural order of things, and literally nature itself. And
mhm.
so seeing these pods, these communities pop up that Disney creates, on one hand, yes, it's magical. On the other hand, it scares the pants off me, because I don't think that's real. And what are the type of people that are going to buy into that? And then their kids grow up in that environment. What are those types of people going to be like? It just, I,
Okay.
so,
So this is what I'm picturing. I'm listening to you. I'm thinking about this world of Disney. I couldn't help but think about the movie The Truman Show
oh
with
man,
Jim Carrey.
good call. Yeah.
And like they even in this article for the Disney, they were like, and we're gonna have our staff. What did they call them?
That's right. Yes,
What
yeah,
the
what do they call them?
oh
They
here I got the
train
article.
them,
Yeah,
uh,
they train
and
them.
they have the characters, and
Uh, d- 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 d-
Imaginist as well, like,
yes, yes.
I don't know.
And they're going to be like in charge of all of like what essentially would be the HOA, would be all the amenities, would be all
Yeah,
the extras. And
yeah.
I'm thinking like the Truman Show, how like everyone's walking around like the milkman and everything,
Yep,
but they're there to create a world for you.
right, right. Yeah. I don't wanna be a part of that myself, but that's just
I don't
me.
know. I totally love. I'm a yeah. I dig Disney.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's crazy. It's
mhm.
wild. I don't know. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm a little scared. I'd love to go visit with you though.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, because this is mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah. Will they serve beer? Can we get a beer over
I
in
bet they
Disney
will. I bet they
neighborhood?
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I got to imagine, that they're gonna have, restaurants, and maybe even a grocery store.
Yeah. No.
Um, I mean, right? The pitch is you just drive through these pearly gates, and you don't ever have to leave. Like, all of your needs will be
Yeah.
met, as long as you keep making money and paying us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that could be
Uh,
another business for them.
yeah.
I know they're already involved in some respect, credit cards and things like that. But boy, it just seems so fabricated. It doesn't seem real.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking California first,
Hmm.
and then it's successful, so they go all in on like a Vegas new neighborhood,
Mm,
because now you can have a casino, a
yeah,
Disney casino. I
yeah,
mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just wild stuff. I don't know how we stumbled upon this article, but holy smokes. Like it was fun. And then with just how crazy our market is, then it's just wild that you and I both know that they'll just sell.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And this isn't Disney's first real estate play. You know, Disney owns a lot of real estate. They've sold a lot off as well, but they own a substantial amount in their portfolio, and they understand the power of real estate. So this is just an extension of that. And yes, it's going to sell. There's no question. Yeah, and they have the pockets to do it, like you said, and the scale. I mean, my God, I have no idea how big Disney is right now. But yeah.
Well, you know, it's gonna be a magical place. So it's gonna be a warm, magical place.
Yeah, it will be. Maybe we Uber up there so we can have a couple beers and then come back. Yeah.
All right, my man. Hey.
Paddle boards.
Yes. Where are they gonna paddleboard? I don't know. This is.
Yeah. If you build it, they will come, right?
Yeah. No, I remember seeing that movie too. That's right.
Yeah. Man.
All right, my friend. Hey, a lot of fun. Fascinating. You know, this is interesting stuff. It's good to have it top of mind, and it's good to finish off with a little bit of a laugh. So
yeah, and just so everybody knows, for like the one or two people that are watching this, Jeremiah
all the way to the end.
We still think that purchasing real estate is a good idea. Okay, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. Now, purchasing Disneyland real estate, I don't know. I'm.
Yeah, right.
But we'll see.
We'll check it out. We'll get back to you guys.
All right, man. Hey, see everybody next Thursday. Have a fantastic week. And John, I'll be talking with you soon.
All right. Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right. Adios.
Bye.